Ever wonder if modernity's just a big pile of BS dressed up as progress? We're drowning in apps, notifications, and next-day delivery, yet half of us feel like we're sprinting on a treadmill to nowhere. Life's supposed to be easier. Smartphones, Wi-Fi, frickin' AI running our coffee makers. But why does it feel like we're stuck in a hamster wheel of stress, scrolling, and soul-sucking jobs? Today, we're ripping the shiny wrapper off this so-called perfect world to expose the hidden costs screwing us over. Stick around, because I'm dropping some real talk on how this chaos impacts your daily grind, and how you can flip the script to become a badass version of yourself. But before we dive in, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel before your phone pings you into oblivion. Let's cut through the BS. We are living in an age of unprecedented stuff. Technological marvels that would make our grandparents' heads explode. Conveniences piled on conveniences. Information gushing out of every screen like a fire hose. We are, by all historical standards, living like kings and queens. We've got instant gratification down to a science. Need food? Tap tap, it arrives. Need entertainment? Endless streams at your fingertips. Need validation? Post a picture. Count the likes. We should be ecstatic, right? Floating on a cloud of blissful progress. So why the hell do so many of us feel empty? Why is anxiety seemingly the default setting for millions? Why does depression linger like a bad smell in these shiny, air-conditioned lives? Why do we feel more disconnected than ever, despite being hyper-connected? It's the great paradox of our time. We built this incredible, complex, technologically advanced world, supposedly for our benefit, yet it often feels like we are the ones being bent out of shape to serve it. It's like we meticulously constructed a beautiful, state-of-the-art cage and willingly locked ourselves inside, forgetting we even hold the key. That nagging feeling that something is fundamentally wrong, that's not a glitch in your personal software. That's you sensing the bars. Remember the sales pitch? Progress. Shiny future. Happiness guaranteed. Yeah, right. The promise was that technology would free us. Comfort would fulfill us. Information would enlighten us. But the reality hitting us daily feels different. Technology often isolates us more than it connects. Comfort breeds complacency, maybe even a strange sort of numbness. Information overload leaves us feeling scattered, anxious, and perpetually distracted. Not wise. The relentless pursuit of more growth, more efficiency, more stuff, hasn't led to a collective sigh of contentment. It's led to burnout, comparison culture on steroids, and a deep, unsettling feeling that we're chasing phantoms. We were promised a garden, but we seem to have cultivated a high-stress, beautifully landscaped desert where genuine satisfaction struggles to bloom. Let's zoom in on this connection mirage. Oh, the glorious, interconnected world. We can video chat with someone on the other side of the planet, maintain friendships with thousands of people we barely know, join niche communities for everything imaginable. It sounds amazing on paper, but what's the quality of these connections? How often does scrolling through carefully curated posts of someone's perfect life leave you feeling uplifted versus feeling vaguely inadequate? How often do digital interactions replace the messy, inconvenient, but ultimately nourishing reality of face-to-face human contact? We trade deep conversation for rapid-fire texts filled with emojis that try and fail to convey real emotion. We perform relationships online, projecting an image while sometimes starving for genuine intimacy offline. Technology isn't inherently evil, but the way we're encouraged to use it, constantly, superficially, performatively, often deepens the very loneliness it promises to cure. It creates this bizarre state of being perpetually surrounded by digital noise, yet feeling profoundly unheard and unseen. It's like shouting your deepest fears into a void filled with cat memes and vacation photos. That hollowness, that's the echo. And the knowledge explosion? My God, the sheer volume. We have access to more facts, figures, opinions, and data than any humans who have ever lived. Want to learn quantum physics? Build a birdhouse? Understand the geopolitical situation in Chad? Theoretically, it's all there. This should make us the most enlightened, informed, critically thinking generation ever. But does it feel that way? Or does it feel like trying to drink from Niagara Falls? We're drowning in information, but starving for wisdom. Our attention spans are shot. We click, we skim, we react, we move on. Critical thinking gets replaced by tribalism and echo chambers, reinforced by algorithms designed to keep us outraged and engaged, not necessarily informed. Information has become another commodity, another form of entertainment, another distraction machine. We know more, perhaps, but we arguably understand less. We mistake familiarity with headlines for genuine comprehension. This constant bombardment keeps our brains buzzing, unable to settle into the deep, quiet thought required for true insight. It keeps us reactive, malleable, and perfectly primed for the next demand the system places on us, which inevitably leads us to the relentless tyranny of productivity. Somewhere along the line, we swallow the idea that our inherent worth is directly proportional to our output. How busy are you? How much did you accomplish today? Are you grinding? Are you optimizing? Are you leveraging your synergies? It's exhausting just thinking about it. We're conditioned from childhood, grades, extracurriculars, internships, to constantly be doing, achieving, adding bullet points to the resume of life. This spills into everything. Hobbies become side hustles. Downtime feels suspicious. Guilty even. That little voice whispering, you could be doing something productive right now. That's the system's programming running deep. Work devours life. The 9 to 5 is a quaint memory for many. It's now the 24/7 tether to email, Slack, Teams, the endless digital leash. Burnout isn't a risk. It's practically a milestone. We brag about how little sleep we got, how much caffeine we mainlined. It's a collective trauma bond over shared exhaustion. And it's not just physical fatigue. It's a depletion of the spirit. It's the feeling of being a resource to be extracted, a cog measured solely by its efficiency in a machine that never stops. Rest is rebellion. Doing nothing is a radical act. But this relentless output serves a crucial purpose, generating the income needed for the other side of the equation. Enter the great God consumption. Because merely working yourself into dust isn't enough to keep the economic gears turning. You gotta spend, and spend, and spend some more. We are marinated 24/7 in a culture that screams, you are incomplete. But don't worry. This product, this service, this experience, this will fix you. This will bring happiness. This will make you worthy, desirable, successful. It's a masterclass in psychological manipulation. Advertising doesn't just sell you soap. It sells you hope. It sells belonging. It sells relief from the anxiety that the rest of the system actively creates. Think about the cycle. You feel stress from work, so you buy something for a quick dopamine hit. You feel inadequate comparing yourself online, so you buy something to signal status. You feel bored because your attention span is fried, so you buy something new to feel a flicker of excitement. It's a closed loop, a snake eating its own tail. And the built-in obsolescence isn't just in our phones. It's in the satisfaction itself. The high is designed to be temporary. The fulfillment is engineered to be fleeting. Because a truly content person is a terrible consumer. The system requires your perpetual dissatisfaction. It thrives on that little ache of not enough. It needs you constantly chasing the next thing, convinced that this time, it'll be different. It's a treadmill disguised as a path to paradise. And this constant chase fundamentally warps our perception of the most precious resource we have. Time. Holy shit, how we abuse time. Or rather, how the system encourages us to abuse it. Think about your mental landscape. How much of it is occupied by the past, regrets, nostalgia, shoulda, coulda, wouldas, or the future, worries, plans, anxieties, what-ifs? How much space is left for? Right now, we live in a state of perpetual anticipation or rumination. We endure the present moment as if it's just a necessary inconvenience on the way to somewhere better. We're always waiting for the weekend, waiting for vacation, waiting for retirement, waiting for that magical someday when everything will finally click into place. But life isn't happening someday. It's happening now. This breath, this heartbeat, this conversation. By constantly projecting ourselves forward or backward, we miss the only time we actually have. The present becomes a blurry corridor we rush through, eyes fixed on a door at the end, without ever noticing the artwork on the walls. And when we finally reach that door, it often opens into another, identical corridor. We arrive at our desired future destinations, feeling strangely unchanged, realizing we traded the lived experience of the journey for the fantasy of the destination. This temporal disconnect is a huge source of that vague, unsettling feeling that life is passing us by, because in a way, it is. We're not fully inhabiting it. And this detachment from the present fuels the feeling of being adrift and alone, because genuine connection requires presence. It requires showing up, fully, in the moment, with another human being. But how can we do that when our attention is constantly being hijacked? When we're conditioned to optimize every interaction? When vulnerability feels like a liability in a world that rewards curated perfection? The modern emphasis on hyper-individualism sells us a seductive lie, that we should be entirely self-sufficient, islands unto ourselves. Needing others, relying on others, is framed as weakness. But this goes against our deepest biological and psychological wiring. We are social creatures who thrive on authentic connection, mutual support, belonging. Stripping that away leaves a gaping wound. The result is this pervasive, paradoxical loneliness. Loneliness in crowds. Loneliness amidst constant communication. Loneliness behind the carefully constructed walls of self-sufficiency. It's not the peaceful solitude that allows for reflection. It's the aching isolation of feeling unseen, misunderstood, and fundamentally disconnected from the tribe. This isn't just sad, it's dangerous. Chronic loneliness has real, detrimental impacts on mental and physical health. It's a silent epidemic fostered by a system that prioritizes individual achievement and digital interaction over deep, messy, time-consuming, essential human bonds. So, we've got the burnout from the productivity cult, the anxiety from the consumption treadmill, the loneliness from the connection mirage, the distraction from the information deluge, and the feeling of life slipping away due to our warped sense of time. It paints a pretty bleak picture, doesn't it? But all these are symptoms. They all point back to the root cause, the ground zero earthquake shaking the foundations of our well-being, the profound disconnection from our authentic selves. Who are you when you strip away the job title, the possessions, the social media profile, the expectations of others, your parents, your partner, your boss, society? What truly motivates you? What brings you genuine joy, not just fleeting pleasure? What are your core values, not just the ones you think you should have? For many of us, these questions are surprisingly hard to answer. We've spent so long looking outward for validation, for instructions, for approval, for the next goal to chase, that we've lost contact with our own inner compass. The external noise is so loud that we can no longer hear the quiet signal from within. We learn to define ourselves by what we do, what we have, and what others think of us. And when we achieve those external markers, the promotion, the bigger house, the Instagrammable vacation, and still feel that hollowness inside, it's terrifying. Because if that wasn't the answer, then what is? This internal disconnect is the ultimate source of the emptiness. We're living lives that aren't truly aligned with who we are deep down, performing roles in a play we didn't write, directed by forces we rarely question. Okay, so the system's rigged, life feels like a pressure cooker, and we're all potentially disconnected little atoms bouncing around anxiously. Is it time to just give up, build a bunker, and hoard goods? No. Recognizing the game, understanding the mechanisms, seeing the matrix, that's not the end. It's the beginning. It's a red pill moment. It's painful, sure, like realizing you've been passionately arguing with a sock puppet, but it gives you something invaluable: choice. Awareness is the prerequisite for change. How does this crap manifest in your actual, boots on the ground, day-to-day life? It's that frantic checking of your phone for notifications, even when you know nothing important is likely happening, seeking a tiny dopamine hit to momentarily numb the unease. It's this Sunday scaries, that creeping dread as the weekend ends, signaling the return to the productivity mill. It's buying shit you don't need, spurred by targeted ads that somehow know your insecurities, getting a brief buzz, followed by buyer's remorse, or just meh. It's the inability to just sit and be quiet without feeling fidgety, anxious, or reaching for a distraction. Stillness feels threatening. It's comparing your messy reality, laundry pile, crying kid, overdue bills, to someone else's perfectly filtered online fantasy and feeling like a failure. It's saying yes to commitments you don't have the time or energy for, driven by FOMO, fear of missing out, or the inability to set boundaries. It's feeling exhausted even after a full night's sleep because the mental load, the background anxiety, never truly shuts off. It's judging your own worth based on your job title, salary, or follower count, rather than your character or kindness. It's realizing you haven't had a truly deep, undistracted conversation with someone you care about in weeks, months. So, how do you flip the script? How do you take this awareness and actually use it to carve out a more meaningful, less anxiety-ridden existence? It's not about overnight transformation. It's about conscious rebellion, small acts of defiance against the currents trying to sweep you away. It's about becoming an active participant in your own life, not just a passenger reacting to stimuli. Here's a non-bullshit toolkit for starting that rebellion. Become a ruthless questioner. Seriously, interrogate your own motives like a detective. Why do I feel the need to check social media right now? Why do I want this specific thing? Is this goal truly mine, or did I absorb it from somewhere else? Does this activity energize me or drain me? Getting curious about your own programming is huge. Cultivate intentional stillness. This is non-negotiable. Find pockets of quiet, even 5 minutes. Turn off the podcasts, the music, the screens. Sit, breathe, walk without earbuds. Let your brain settle. It will feel weird, maybe even agonizing at first. That's the withdrawal. Stick with it. This is where you start hearing that inner voice again. Meditation helps, but it doesn't have to be formal. Just be. Hunt for authentic connection. Audit your relationships. Who makes you feel seen, heard, and energized? Who leaves you feeling drained or inadequate? Invest time and presence in the former. Put the effing phone away when you're with people. Ask deeper questions. Listen without planning your response. Share your own vulnerabilities appropriately. Start small. One deep connection trumps 1,000 superficial ones. Define your own damn success. F societal scorecards. What does a rich life mean to you personally? Is it time freedom, creative expression, deep relationships, helping others, making a difference? Write it down. Get specific. Align your actions and choices with your definition, not the default settings of the consumerist hustle culture. This requires courage, as it often means swimming against the tide. Practice radical presence. This sounds woo-woo, but it's vital. Anchor yourself in the present moment, frequently. Feel your feet on the floor. Notice the taste of your coffee. Really listen to the sounds around you. When your mind inevitably wanders to the past or future, it will 1,000,000 times gently bring it back to now. Treat it like training a puppy. Gentle, persistent redirection. This weakens the grip of anxiety and regret. Become a conscious consumer of everything before you buy stuff, consume media, or even commit your time. Pause. Ask, do I truly need this? Is this adding value to my life? Or just noise? Am I consuming this? Or is it consuming me? Be aware of the manipulative forces at play. Hello, algorithms and advertising. Choose quality over quantity in possessions, information, and even commitments. Learn to say no. Prioritize play and passion without monetizing it. Remember hobbies? Things you do just for fun. Rediscover them or find new ones. Do things purely for the joy of doing them, not because they'll look good on Instagram or could become a side hustle. Protect this sacred space fiercely. Play is not frivolous. It's essential for well-being. Move your body. Seriously. Stress, anxiety, trauma, they live in the body. Exercise isn't just about aesthetics. It's about processing emotions, releasing tension, boosting mood. Find something you enjoy, or at least tolerate, and do it regularly. Walk, dance, stretch, lift weights, kickbox your frustrations away, whatever works. This isn't a checklist to perfect. It's a practice. A messy, ongoing, sometimes 2 steps forward, 1 step back process of reclaiming your life, your attention, your sense of self from a system that profits from your distraction and dissatisfaction. It's about realizing that true fulfillment isn't found out there in the next achievement or purchase. It was never there. It's cultivated in here through presence, connection, purpose defined by you, and the courage to live in alignment with your own rediscovered values. It's about finding the meaning in the moments, not just the milestones. It's about coming home to yourself. And that, my friend, is a rebellion worth fighting for.